Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for the Q&A, so let's go ahead and get this started. Alright, first question. Hey Jason, your thoughts on banded leg curls for hamstrings, their volume, intensity, tempo, and frequency. Ever since I started doing these, my knee pain is going away. Don't have access to a glute ham device. Thanks. Alright, great question. Actually, this is what I prescribe for clients who have home gyms and no access to anything to train their hamstrings with other than stuff like Good Mornings and so on. In fact, one of my pretty advanced guys, again, what do we call advanced? Anything past a 400 squat, past 500 deadlift, you're pretty much an advanced lifter. I do have one of my guys who had access to a glute ham device before the lockdowns. He happens to be in Canada where things are still not, at least in his part of Canada, because one of my guys up there has gym access. He doesn't have access to gym. So he started building a home gym. You know, he's got plates, he's got a bar, he's got an axle bar. But his hamstrings have been a weakness for him. We had been doing glute ham devices to continue to work on them before that. And he doesn't. So I had him start doing hamstring curls with the bands. Now, as far as intensity, tempo, I honestly don't care that much about tempo. To be perfectly honest with you, I think at the point of where we're really worrying about tempo outside of just doing speed work, you know, are we doing compensatory acceleration work with a bigger exercise? We have something where we care about tempo, or is it something like bands where you just get a nice, fast, good tempo? In some cases, you might even squeeze at the top because of the peak contraction of the band. You know what? I honestly don't think with smaller, fatiguing exercises like this that it matters. Okay, we could argue ad nauseum about tempo on little small exercises, and we would all be wrong and sound really stupid for having done it. Okay, they're metabolic fatigue exercises. They're small exercises. As far as volume goes, not a volume issue either, because you're going to be forced to do fairly high reps with something like this. There's no way around it. Individual volume kind of goes out the window. It's like, how many sets to failure did you do? Okay. Now, if you have something like this, it's a major weak link, and this is your only real hamstring movement. So you don't have a reverse hyper. You don't have a glute ham device. All you've got are Good Mornings and similar type standing hip hinges. And you got the banded hamstring curls. Well, just up to 5 sets to failure. I would do 5 sets to failure twice a week. And if for example, hamstrings were a major problem for you, you could do these for restoration work on off days. Okay, which could mean up to 5 sets again. But with even lighter weight, something in the range of at least 30 reps. Okay. So that's how you could go about it. It really depends upon, are we talking about primary workouts or restoration workouts? But either way, I would think that if you really need the hamstring work, particularly with a history of knee pain, doing 5 sets pretty much to failure would be wise. All right, next question. Thoughts on zercher Good Mornings as a variation? You guys kind of see my response down below. No, I have no idea what it is that you're trying to achieve with this. I have literally no idea. Yes, I understand that zercher squats are popular with wrestlers and certain grappling people. But what you're thinking of as a zercher is not what strength athletes are always doing as a zercher. Okay, yes, grapplers, people who grapple. Zercher squats are very popular because it forces them to hold it in their arms. Okay? When powerlifters do zercher squats, like again, when they do them at Westside, they're talking about with a harness. Same thing with front squats. Like what you think I think of as Olympic lifters do front squats racked in their hands. When we're talking about doing the front squat for the angles involved, you're going to do those in a harness also. In both cases, you're not holding the weight. And so let me ask you a very, very simple question. How is this even a good morning anymore? It's not a good morning. Like, quit calling it a good morning. A good morning is bowing over with it on top of your back. You're doing a zercher Romanian deadlift. You're doing a zercher Romanian deadlift. Well, what is it you expect to get out of this? Because I want to be clear, there is no such thing as a zercher good morning. It's not a good morning at all. The weight is on the opposite side of the body, like a Romanian deadlift. When the hip hinge action is pretty much the same on an RDL and a good morning. It's just bar position. So basically, you're doing a zercher RDL. So here's what I want to ask. What is it you think you're going to achieve with this? You're going to train, I don't know, your biceps at isometric strength instead of your grip? I don't know. I guess maybe if you're going to be a grappler or something, you could do that. But we're right over to just doing zercher. Why don't you just do zercher deadlifts? Because the problem you're going to have is that how are you're going to cradle that rate for rep work? You're really going to do that for rep work? I don't think so. Not the kind of weights that we can do on an RDL. Because that is what you were doing. Let's make that clear. The kind of weights that most of us can move on an RDL for volume, you're not going to cradle in your arms like that. You're going to end up pulling something. You're going to end up seriously tearing a bicep or damaging your forearm probably. And I could be wrong. Maybe there's some people out there who do it. Maybe you got the idea from somewhere else. I'm certainly not going to advocate this. I just don't see what you're trying to get from it. Okay? I don't see what it is you're trying to achieve. We have all these other good morning variations if you want to do good mornings. And I very rarely say that I look at an exercise these days and think it's completely useless. This one, I really don't see the point. I think that you're getting bizarre for the sake of getting bizarre with no actual benefit. All right, next question. What are your thoughts on Angle's 90s grips, particularly for older guys and injury prevention? At first, I had to look this up real quick because I was thinking that you were talking about those lat pull down things where you have the different angles that you can get the different attachment arms. That I've seen some older guys link that they like to use for some different back variation. I've seen like Dave Crossan link, and it turns out you're talking about those little silly orange things with the straps. That's trendy marketing nonsense. Like I think that's absolutely absurd. And what do you mean for older guys? I mean, like when Louis Simmons was deadlifting 700 pounds in his 50s? With a normal barbell without an angled 90 grip on it? I mean, look at the design of that. It's just basically a little thin nylon strap that you're strapping around a barbell over there, and it's going to wear down, forcing you to hold it in its own awkward hand angles. What? When those things break, you're going to get hurt. I'm sorry, but that's a little cheap piece of shit. We need to be gripping metal for any sort of real training. And it would be one thing if you're talking about some smaller different grips and attachments for some single joint exercises to hit certain movements. Maybe you need a certain twist or angle to hit your rear delt a little better. Right? I mean, I get that. I understand that even from a strength perspective. But wrapping things like this around barbells, or pull-up bars or whatever, I'm sorry, these are not robust enough. And they're just basically cheap pieces of crap that are going to get you hurt when they break for no benefit. If your goal is to get different grip angles on barbells and stuff, that's why we have specialty bars. Look at all the different specialty bars we have. I have 9 barbells. Okay, specialty bars are your solutions to those things, not little cheap makeshift pieces of hammered crap. Don't buy into trendy nonsense like this. It's trendy garbage that comes through your social media feed that someone maybe makes it sound good because maybe they get a doctor on board or something, and you know what? He's just there to make money, to sell you thousands of these little pieces of crap These things are not useful. And if you're having pain with the correct grips and stuff on different barbells for exercises, it's time for you to seriously assess what's going on from your overuse, fatigue management, connective tissue. Stuff like this is not a fix. There's a larger dynamic at play. You need to sort your training out. Yeah, you need to sort your training out. This stuff I fix all the time with clients. These sort of problems that we run into, minor tweaks and inflammation, we work around it, we build around it. And in many cases, we get specialty bars to help them through it. All right, guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.